District, ready to read you a story for bedtime, Black History Month. Amazing stories I'm going to be teaching you all about. And today is like no other. Hidden Figures is the true story of 4 Black women and the space race. Super duper smart, just like all of you. It's science and technology and math, and they showed how smart they are with NASA. So I'm going to read you this story so you can get excited about your future too. Hola comunidad de Greenfield, soy su Presidente Galvana, aquí con ustedes leyendo otra historia. Es la historia, el mes de celebrar a nuestros hermanos y hermanas africanos, americanos, y esta historia es sobre 4 mujeres que hicieron fantástico con sus matemáticas, ciencia, tecnología, con NASA, los astronauts o los espacios en NASA, y vamos a leer sobre ellas y lo que hicieron en el pasado. They did amazing for the history. So this is the true story of 4 Black women and the space race. And it's written by Margot Lee Shetterly and illustrated by Laura Freeman. All right, so let's learn who these ladies are. Amazing women. Dorothy Vaughan, Mary Jackson, Katherine Johnson, and Kristin Darden were good at math. Really good. Raise your hand if you're good at math. I see some of you are really good. In 1943, the United States was at war, World War II. Dorothy Vaughan wanted to serve her country by working for the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, the government agency that designed airplanes. Having the best airplanes would really help America in the war. Today we think of computers as machines, but in the 1940s, computers were actually people like Dorothy, Mary, Katherine, and Kristin. They were the computers that did all the math. Because Dorothy was Black and because she was a woman, some people thought it was impossible for her to be having the job as a computer. She lived in Virginia, a southern state where laws segregated and kept apart Black people from white people. The white people and the Black people could not eat together in the restaurants. They could not drink from the same water fountains. They could not use the same restrooms. They could not even attend the same schools. But Dorothy didn't think it was impossible. In fact, she was really good at math, really good. So she knew that she was the right person for that job, and she applied anyways. At work, Blacks and whites were kept apart. They were not able to work together. So the white computers and the Black computers had to be separated in different offices. Even though they worked on the same kinds of problems, the Black computers and the white computers could not share the bathrooms or any of the workrooms. America won the war in 1945, but Dorothy stayed on that job. She was still trying to make airplanes faster and safer. By 1951, the Americans and the Russians were competing to see who could build the best and fastest airplane. That meant more experiments and more numbers. Lots and lots of numbers. That's when Mary Jackson got a job as a computer at Langley. She worked in a group that tested model airplanes in wind tunnels. A wind tunnel was a machine like a huge metal box with a powerful fan attached to it. Mary put the model airplane in the wind tunnel and blasted it with air and with a fan to see if it could sustain the wind. Mary wanted to become an engineer, but officials said that was impossible. Why? Because she was Black and because she was a woman. Mary needed to take high-level math classes to be an engineer, but she wasn't allowed to take the classes because she wasn't white. But Mary was really good at math, really good, and she refused to give up. She got permission to enter that school building and take the math classes that she needed, and she got really good grades. Katherine Johnson, well, she was also really good at math, and she always asked lots of questions. In 1953, she applied to the laboratory for a computer job and was placed on a team that tested actual planes while they were flying in the air. Their research was used to figure out ways to prevent future plane crashes. In one of her first projects, She learned how to analyze turbulence, or dangerous gusts of air. No one knows how many lives her work may have helped save. Catherine wanted to help the group prepare its research reports, so she asked if she could go to meetings with the other experts on the team. But her boss told her that was impossible. Women are not allowed at these meetings, he said. But Catherine knew she was really good at math, better than anyone else, and maybe the best. So she asked him again and again. She kept asking him over and over till he finally said, "Yes, you can go." Catherine, she was good at math, really good, and because she fought to be treated the same as the other men, she became the first woman in her group to sign her name on one of the group's reports, which never happened. In 1950s, the Langley Laboratory bought a machine, a computer machine, that could do the math a little faster than the humans. At first, these machines made mistakes. Dorothy learned how to program the machine so that it would get the right answers. In 1957, Russia launched a satellite known as Sputnik, and they launched it into orbit around the Earth. The United States started building satellites to explore space too, and for years the laboratory had used math to design airplanes. Now it would need math to create a spaceship as well. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy told Congress, "I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is over, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to Earth." That was his dream. The people at the laboratory had to work together from morning until night to figure out how to send astronaut John Glenn into space, and also how to bring him home safely to Earth. Katherine Johnson knew she could use math to help them. "Tell them where you want the spaceship to land, and I'll tell you where to launch it," Katherine said. No one was better than Katherine at solving these tricky math problems. Day before his mission, John Glenn wanted Katherine to double-check the machine, the trajectory, and all the calculations to make sure it didn't have any mistakes. Meanwhile, laws began to change so that black and white students could now go to school together. Blacks fought for the right to sit next to the whites on buses and to drink the same water from the same water fountain. At the laboratory, black and white computers started working together in the same offices. They even started eating at the same tables and using the same bathrooms. Black and white moviegoers could also sit next to each other at the movies. Kristin Darden was good at math, and she loved electric computers. She started working at Langley in 1967. Christine wanted to become an engineer, and thanks to Dorothy, Mary, and Catherine, she knew that it was possible. Eventually, she became an engineer for supersonic airplanes, planes that fly faster than even the speed of sound. The people at the laboratory prepared for years to send astronauts to the moon, about 238,900 miles away from Earth. Finally, on July 20th of 1969, the world watched as the three men arrived on the moon using the Apollo 11 spacecraft. That's one small step for man, one giant step, one giant leap for mankind, said astronaut Neil Armstrong when he stepped onto the dusty surface. But it was also a giant leap for Dorothy, for Mary, for Catherine, and Christine. The moon landing was a success from takeoff to splashdown. But there was no time to rest. Once NASA landed astronauts on the moon, the people at the laboratory began dreaming of sending humans to other planets like Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The next adventure wouldn't be easy, and it would require lots and lots of tests and more numbers. But Dorothy Mary, Catherine, and Christine knew one thing. With hard work, perseverance, and love of math, anything is possible. And that's our story for today. So how about that? 4 Black African American women who did so much in history to make it possible for us to fly into outer space and land on the moon. Pretty awesome, right? Just like you are all going to be super awesome when you grow up and pick the job, career that you want to do. So I'm Super Gavon with Greenfield School District, sending you a great big bear hug from our family to yours.